Before we start this video, do like and subscribe to our channel and not miss on any updates.
Hello dear CFA aspirants and even FRM aspirants. Welcome to this session on the calculator policy with respect to CFA and FRM. Both of them have very similar policy, and I'm going to largely cover the calculator that is used in the CFA exams. What are the types of calculator, what is the most preferred calculator, where to buy it, how to buy it, and what are the ways in which you can use that calculator. Okay, so there are two calculators that CFA Institute allows. One is a Texas Instruments TI calculator, BA2 Plus or BA2 Plus Professional. There are two variations, or a HP calculator. Very few people use HP. Almost everybody in the world uses the Texas Instrument TI BA Plus or BA2 Plus or BA2 Plus Professional. Okay, so you have here on screen, this is the latest version. Okay, this is the latest version of what? Latest version of BA2 Plus Professional Calculator. I will also share where you can buy. You can do a simple Amazon search and you can get it. I will anyway share the link of this calculator with you. My suggestion is please buy this professional only. It has some additional functions, much better than what the older versions are. So when I was doing my CFA, this was way back in 2006. So then I had purchased this calculator. This is also a TI BA2 Plus Professional calculator, but this is the older version. Okay, it is silver in color and all of that, right? So if you actually look at the next slide, this is the calculator that I have. Okay, this is the older version. Okay, this is the newer version. This looks cool also. Okay, so this is the, if anyone is buying, I would suggest please go ahead and buy this one. Now, are there functions vastly different? No. In fact, most of the functions that are there in these calculators that are required for you for the CFA level 1, level 2, level 3 exams are present in BA2 Plus Professional, new version, old version. This is the new version, this is the old version, and there are older versions also, BA2 Plus or BA2 Plus older version. So, BA2 Plus, this is the normal BA2 Plus Professional, this is the BA2 Plus, and this is the BA2 Plus older version, older. Okay, so professional latest, professional old, plus latest, plus old. So you can buy anything, it doesn't matter. All of them have similar functions. My suggestion, whenever you have something latest, go for this. Okay, so and with this, along with whenever you buy this particular BA2 Plus Professional or any of these calculators, you actually get a book, a detailed PDF guide. In fact, I'll show you that guide. This is a guide. It's a 95-page guide. Okay, this 95-page guide is actually very exhaustive. They tell you how to turn on, turn off, memory, latest answer, worksheets, computing present value, future value, perpetual value, cash flows, bond, depreciation, statistics, other worksheets. Literally, if you use this calculator, you can work in the exam without using, applying pen and paper for every single computation. Please see, if you have not seen the kind of questions that are asked in the CFA exam, you are asked questions where the third decimal or fourth decimal is the only difference in the correct answer. MCQ questions, right? So that could be cases. Or you may be asked questions where there are 6-7 years of cash flows, or where you are asked slightly complex stuff where if you were to put pen to paper and then use a normal calculator, it will not work out, right? It will take you a lot of time. In fact, you can save at least 20 to 30 minutes by using calculators like this. And a lot of people who use these calculators get so used to them that even in their office or post CFA work, they actually end up using this calculator. It becomes their buddy. This calculator becomes their buddy. They carry it along with them. Even though Excel is something that you have, if you're not in front of your desktop or on a laptop and you wish to calculate something very, very quickly, you can use this particular calculator. There are app-based versions of this calculator also. You can download them on your app and all that. I, in fact, have downloaded one such, calculator app, which I'm going to showcase to you in a few minutes. But please note, in the CFA exam, only these four, whatever I showed you, which four? Only these four calculators are allowed. No other calculator is allowed. Please don't be under the impression that you'll carry a calculator like this or some other calculator which you have used earlier in your life. All those are not permitted. Calculator like this or any of the other three that I'm showing on my screen, only these four are permitted. Nothing else is permitted. Of course, this is TI. You have a HP version also, but HP nobody usually does, nobody recommends. Okay, I have learned using this only, and a lot of my friends, colleagues, anyone whom I have seen uses only this TI, Texas Instrument calculator. Okay, now just again coming back, they have given a bunch of these stuff, what all you can do, how you can do and all of that. And please note, the battery on this calculator comes for roughly about 13 to 1500 hours. So even if you use the calculator 1 hour a day, it will come for 5 years. Okay, so I have not changed the calculator battery for I think some 7-8 years now. Okay, so there is no need to worry that your battery will exhaust in the exam hall. If at all you want to carry a battery, but I don't suggest that take 2 calculators to exam and all. Don't do all such kind of weird stuff. You're not required. The calculator will function properly. You can just check for it before the exam and take it. Okay, so don't worry about things that at the most you carry an extra battery, but beyond that nothing else is required. Okay, so this out of these 95 pages, right? I am not going to take you through all 95 pages. We are going to concern ourselves largely with the functions that are used largely for the CFA exams, and this includes level 1, level 2, level 3. So we'll have basic functions, we'll have cash flow related functions, we have statistic related function, we'll have computation functions, we'll have time value functions, we'll have annuity related functions. So like that, we'll have a bunch of these functions that we'll go through. Okay, so we'll go through all of those one by one. If you have any doubt, this particular PDF is available. I'm going to share the link to this PDF on the below this video. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it on our website or app, this particular PDF is already available as part of the course guide. Okay, so need not worry about that. You will anyway get this when you buy it. Okay, but just in case you don't have access to it, this is one place where you can get everything together. Okay, along with this particular calculator, how to use calculator for CFA exams video. Okay, so this is the first introductory part. Now that we have got all of these things aside, where I have given you a clear understanding of what the calculator is, now let us jump into the first aspect of this calculator. How does this calculator function? Basic functions of this particular calculator. I will move after I cover the basic functions, then we'll move to the advanced functions, one after the other. Okay, fair enough. So let us now first go into basic functions of this particular calculator. So friends, here I have, as you can see on the screen, app of the calculator. So there are official apps, there are some unofficial apps as well. I am using one of the unofficial apps. It functions as good as the official app, but there could be some variations. But for the functions that I am going to show you and whatever we are going to discuss today, I think this is more than sufficient, right? So if you look at the app, and there's an exact replica of the calculator that I have. In fact, I've copied it button by button. So don't worry about all of that. Please understand the functions first. Then you can figure out whether official, unofficial, and all of that stuff. Okay, need not bother otherwise. Now, first up, when you look at this particular calculator, what I have on screen, what I'm showing, there are a bunch of buttons here. Okay, this is a very generic, buttons what you have on any other calculator. Very simple. First one is of course on and off. This is your normal on off button. Then you have something else as a clear work button. Clear work clears whatever is there on screen. It is very simple. There is nothing complicated. Then you have something called as second here. This is a very, very important function. Second is something which basically is like your function key on your keyboard, or basically your calculator has two functions. One, the normal functions which are visible on the keypad here, let's say 8, 9, 6, 5 and all that. So when you press second, instead of looking at the 7, 8, 9, 10, you have to look at the text that is written above the button. Please note above the button, memory, format, reset, things like that. So we are basically looking at when you press second, these functions come into play. Okay, when you don't press second, your normal whatever is there on the keys, right? These are steel keys, solid keys. So whatever is there on the keys, those come into play. Okay, that is the first aspect. Second aspect that you have to understand with respect to this calculator is this calculator stores stuff. So if there is something in memory, or if some number is already computed, even if you switch off the calculator, that number is still there in the memory. So you open the calculator after 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 1 year, this number still is there. Okay, so please, whenever you open the calculator, the first thing that you should do is second clear. Why am I pressing second CEC? Because just above CEC there is something called as clear work. When you say clear work, it clears everything. And when you are looking at time value computation, you should always press second and this FV. Why FV? Because above FV is this thing called clear time value. So every time you do any time value of money computation, moment you complete it, clear the CLR TVM. Consistently keep doing that. Okay, you have to get used to this. One is second clear work, which cleans everything, and second FV, which basically clears your time value of money. When you're doing time value, you can do second FV and keeps on clearing whatever data you've input in the time value. Okay, these are first basic stuff. Then you also have a button called enter and set. These are primarily used for changing your options. What are these options? I will tell you all of that, and simple up arrow, down arrow, and all that. Then please note a few buttons here. I want to highlight them before we jump into the other aspects or more cleaner aspects or more detailed aspects. This particular row is all about time value of money. This particular row is all about time value of money. This particular row, you can use it for percentage, you can find out square roots, you can find out squares, you can find out 1 by x and so on and so forth. And here you also have this y power x. Okay. And you see the kind of features this particular calculator has. It also has an x factorial. You can compute NPR, you can compute NCR, you can compute break evens. Okay, you can actually compute NPV, you can compute IRR, you can round off, you can compute natural logarithm, you can compute e power x, you can compute sine, cos, tan. There are a variety of features. A lot of people, engineering students, use the scientific calculator, but this one is more from finance perspective. So this calculator is what you should use when you are preparing for when you are in the CFA or FRM exams for that matter. Now coming back, there are other features also: depreciation, date, profit, bunch of other stuff. All of them are not required for us at the moment. We will look at only the key ones. Okay, now, so friends, so the most important thing in this entire calculator, first, as soon as you receive the calculator, is you change the decimal count. Now here it is appearing as 5 decimals. So I'll tell you how to change the decimal. You click the second button and then click this button called dot or format. Then it will show you the number of decimal count. Now you change it to whatever count you want. Best is 9. Why? 9 is a floating decimal. What is a floating decimal? It shows you the exact decimal count that is there. So if 2 decimals are there, it will show you 2. It will show, if 8 are there, it will show you 8. If 9 are there, it will show you 9. If 10 are there, it will round off to 9 and show you. Okay. Whereas if you take 3 or 4 as a decimal count, then what it does is it will round off everything to 3rd or 4th decimal. Okay. So now I have set it to 9, and moment I set it to 9, the next thing is I have to press enter and then I say second quit. So it will come as 0. So you see, you don't see any decimal count after this. 0.2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into 1. You get the same value. Whereas if I had set the format, a number count to 5 and press enter, right, then second quit, then 5 decimals will appear. 0.22222, okay, into 1. I'll get answer only in 5 decimals. Okay, understood? This is the first one. Then we also have a function for correction. Let's say I want to enter 478.598, but I made a mistake. It should be 4780.598. So what do? I use this arrow on the second row, last column, right? I press the backspace or delete button, 0.598. So basically this backspace or delete or correct feature deletes everything that is there in its path, one character by one character. Okay, this is the second one. Now we have understood basic functions so far. First one is floating 9. Then we've also understood about back space by delete. Then I've explained to you about the second function. So friends, now the second thing what you have, let us look at some more functions in this particular calculator. You press second and click format. First thing that we see is decimal, and decimal already we know, right? Next, what is this? Next, there is something called degree, right? Then there is something called US. This is basically the time for date format. US is MMDDYY, whereas most of the world, especially people in India, we all use European convention, which is DDMMYY. How do we change it? You just press second and enter. It changes to euro. After you have changed it, you have to again press enter and then second and CPT or quit. Then you come back to this. Now, if whether your setting is changed or not, let us see. Second, format, then down arrow, it is euro. We've changed it to euro, now it is in euro. Next, coming back, let us see what else is there. Second format, decimal, degree, date format, then this is in commas, right? You put a comma after 1000, you put a, how does it? Let us see. Second set, if you have euro, it is in dot and then comma, whereas if it is US, if it is comma and dot. Okay, then let us move forward. Decimal, degree, date, then number format, then AOS. Then you have something called as AOS. What is AOS? In our settings, it is set as AOS. With this setting, what will I get answer as 1 plus 2 into 3? 1 plus 2 into 3. I am getting the answer as 7. So, if you get the answer as 7, it is called AOS. What is AOS? It is your BODMAS rule. BODMAS. What is BODMAS? Bracket of, divisor, multiply, and add, subtract, right? Whereas you will get a different answer called 9. When will you get that? I will show that to you. You will get a different answer called 9. When will you get that? Let us see. I change the format. Instead of AOS, I set CHN. CHN is chain. Okay. Then enter, second, quit. Right. 1 plus 2 into 3. 1 plus 2 into 3. What did you get? You get answer as 9. How did you get 9? How do you get 9? It is first doing 1 plus 2. Why is it doing 1 plus 2? Because the first operator, whatever is there, it is following that operator, and then it is following the action required by that operator, and then moving to the next operator. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 into 3 is 9. This is chain. Okay. Which one do you ideally suggest we should have? Do you think chain is better or BODMAS is better? I typically would prefer BODMAS, but there may be some cases where you might want to first multiply something with add some numbers, multiply some numbers, and all of that. In that cases, chain is preferred. Okay, we will come across certain examples where we can actually use chain. So for now, let us keep chain as the system instead of having it as AOS. I will show you where it works, how it works, and how we can make it all work for us, especially in the exam environment. Okay, let us move to the next aspect. And what all have we covered now? We have covered formats of decimal, then date, and AOS by chain. Okay, we have covered this so far. Now let us move to the next one. So now let us move to the other basic functions that we can that we need to work on. Basically the 1, 2, 3, 4th row, right? What you are seeing on screen. This particular row where percentage, square root, x square, 1 by x divided by. Now percentage and divide by you typically know, so let us not bother about that. Now if let us say I want to find out the square root of something, right? 5 square root, you get an answer. Okay, please don't press square root and 5. What will happen? Square root and 5, you will not get anything. Okay, 5 square root, you get the answer. Okay, that is the first function. Then 5 x square is 25, right? You again, first you press the number, then press the function what you want. Then 5 1 by x 0.2. Great. Why are we getting only one decimal? Because we have set our decimal as floating, which is 9. Okay. So 5 1 by x is 0.2, which is 5. 1 by x is what? 1 by 5, which is basically a reciprocal of 5, which is 1 by 5, which is 0.2. That is what is 1 by x. Now let us look at this y par x. What is this y par x? Let us say you want to find out the value of 2 par 9. How will you do 2 par 9? You can't keep doing 2 into 2 into 2. So 2 y par x 9. You will get answer, which is I think 512. Yes, 512. 2 par 9 is 512. So you can actually compute very easily 2 power, let's say 5.5. You'll get an answer, right? So what are you basically doing? 2 y par x 5 is equal to 2 par 5, which is 32. This is how you get the answer. Okay, this is the first one. Next step, moving forward after this step, is this whole thing about reciprocal and y par x together. What do I mean by that? So let's say I want to find out the cube root of 8. 8 y by x 1 by 3 bracket close is equal to 2. So what did I do here? 8 y by x, then I opened a bracket, I put 1 by 3, close the bracket. So it is going to do 8 power 1 by 3, which is equal to 2. This is the answer I got. But how did I do it? 8 y by x, bracket open, 1 by 3, and when I close the bracket, the value of 1 by 3 comes in, which is 0.333. And this is the answer only for 1 by x, 1 by 3, which is 0.33. It is not 8 power 1 by 3. I have to press is equal to get the answer. Okay, so doing once again, 8 y by x, bracket open, 1 divided by 3, bracket close, is equal to, I get the answer. Can I do it in an easier way? I will show you. 8 y by x, then I enter 3 and I press 1 by x of 3, right? So I get 0.333, same thing what I got with the using a bracket. Instead of using a bracket, I am repeating again, 8 y by x, 3, and immediately after 3 I press 1 by x. So I get value of reciprocal of 3, which is 1 by 3, which is 0.33. So it is showing on screen 0.33. It still has not computed 8 power 0.333. So I have to press is equal to, I'll get the value of 2. Okay, interesting one, right? It's a very, very easy way of computing a lot of things. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as well. 8 y power x, 3, 1 by x is equal to. Then I will get answer as 2. Okay, this is the second function. Then let us move forward. What else is there? Brackets, this all we have discussed. Now comes to the more interesting part. So now let us compute the next one, which is square root of 2 into 0.4 power 3. Square root of 2 into 0.4 power 3. Now what is square root of 2? 1.414. Some of you may, if you don't remember, no problem. 2 square root 1.414. I have not yet explained storage function. I will explain that in the next step. But first, look at this using brackets. How can you do? Into square root of 2 into 0.4 power 3. Okay, into bracket open, 0.4 y power x power 3, bracket close. It gives you 0.4 power 3 value is equal to. So square root of 2 into 0.4 power 3 is 0.09050. Okay, I am just noting it down. 0.090509. Okay, I have noted it down here. Now, can we do it simpler without having a bracket? What is our setting here? Setting for this is chain. Chain means it follows in the logic in which you have given. Okay, so instead of chain, let us change it to AOS. Let us change it to AOS. 2 square root into 0.4 y by x 3. You get directly answer as same answer what we got earlier, which is what? 0.09050966. Okay, this is because we changed it to AOS. Had it not been AOS, had it been CHN, chain, how would it appear? 2 square root into 0.4 y by x 3, y power x 3. You get a very, very different answer. So if you put chain, what will happen? It will follow in the order in which you have given information. If you put AOS, it will follow the Bodmas rule. It will follow the Bodmas rule, which is why it is better to keep everything in AOS. Okay. Okay. So this is the next aspect. Now after this, let us move to the next one. Now there is one very important function in this calculator, which is how to reset the calculator with respect to all settings. So if you click this second button and then click reset on the bottom last row, this plus or minus, if you click that, it will ask you whether you want to reset, and this works the same way in the physical calculator also. It will say reset question mark. You have to say enter, you have to press enter, or in this app what I have, I am pressing yes. So when you do this, all formats get changed. So your decimal by default comes to 4, and let us go and check. Decimal is 4. Degree, we changed it from US to Europe, it comes back to US. We changed it to, it is already in AOS. Okay, it is in AOS. In some calculators it is probably set as CHN in some automated mode. Okay, so that is one very important function that you should remember. Okay, now coming back, let us look at some other important functions. Now looking at couple of more functions. Now let us look at these NPR and NCR functions, basically how this second key can also be used. So let us say you want to find out NCR, which is combination. Let's say 5C2. So you press 5 second NCR 2 and you press is equal to, you get answer as 10. Same way you press 5 second NPR, which is permutation 2 is equal to, you get answer as 20. So 5C2 is 10, 5P2 is 20. So you get the correct answer using of this permutation combination also can be done on this calculator. Now coming to factorial. So you can press 2 second factorial, you get 2 factorial is 2. Now 5 second factorial is 120. 3 second factorial is 6, 3 into 2 is 6. So if whatever is there on that particular screen, at that point of time, if you press second in a function, that gets computed in that particular function. There is one more function. Let's say we have computed 5 second NCR 2. Your answer is 10. Now let us say you have cleared something. Okay, you just press CEC. You have not yet cleared the entire work. Okay, you just press CEC. Now you want that answer back. How will you get it? You just say second and answer. It will give you that particular value. So whatever is the last function that was done where you got actually a solution, that will actually come up on screen if you press second and is equal to. Okay, so whatever was computed, please note computed, not typed. So if you typed 6, let us say now I type 6. Okay, then I clear. Now if I press second and answer, what will I get? Will I get 6 or will I get 10? You get second and answer, you will get 10. What was computed? Okay, not what was typed. Please note this particular aspect. Now let us look at one more important thing. So far we have looked at this formats, then we have looked at second function mein a few things about NPR, NCR, factorial, then we've also looked at which all ones? We also looked at AOS chain is already done, then second answer key will give you last computation. Okay, this all we have seen so far. Now let us come to this whole time value of money, TVM. Okay, let us come to time value of money, TVM, which is basically the third row on your calculator. Let me take you through the third row on the calculator. So second clears basically everything. Now please see this third row on this calculator where you have N, Y by Y, PV, PMT and FV. This third row is unique. Even in your calculator, if you see, it has a separate color or a separate indentation, or there is some differentiation for this particular third row. Okay, now why is this row different? Because this row is unique and different from the overall calculator what you have. It has certain functions which are independent. What do I mean by that? So if you want to clear all the values of that you are inputting for this particular row, then you have to press second and TVM, which is what I was telling you in the beginning also. If you do second in clear work, it clears for the rest of the calculator. Second in clear TVM, it clears for this entire row specifically. Now in this row, let us look at one question. I want to take you guys through one specific question, which is an easier way to understand this whole story. Now we are going to look at this third row, which is basically our time value of money row. Before we get into the time value of money row, let us see what are the buttons in that. First one is N, which is basically your number of periods, right? Then you have I by Y, which is the interest rate per period. Okay, then you have PV, which is present value. Then you have payments that are regular payments that are made. Then you have FV, which is future value. You can do use this for computation of annuity, computation of bond value, so on and so forth. So there are 5 buttons here, or rather 5 data fields here. If you give 3, you can get answer for 4. If you give 4, you can get answer for 5. It depends on what is the data that you want to input or wish to input. Now what are 3, what are 4, you yourself will figure out as you move forward in the problems. But now let me take an example, very simple example, and explain how this works. Let us say there is a bond. And please note you have to be very clear of the sign. So let us say you are an investor, you are going to get 1,000 rupees, which is the face value of the bond, on the date of maturity of the bond. Every period you are going to get, let us say 50 rupees, let's say 25 rupees. 25 rupees is the coupon per period. Okay, PMT is period. Per period you are going to get 25 rupees. Right. Now this 25 rupees what you are going to get is on this 1,000 rupees, which is coupon, which is per period. Now you have number of periods. Let us say the number of periods are 10. If you have number of periods are 10, and let us assume this is a semi-annual coupon. Right, if semi-annual coupon, the number of periods are 10 means it is a 5-year bond. Now, what is the interest rate? I by Y. I by Y is the interest rate. Do you have to enter the interest rate as per annualized, or you have to give it semi-annualized? You have to be very, very clear. This I by Y is interest per period, what you have computed here for that period only. So now let us say the market interest rate, right, is let us say 4% per semi-annual or 4% per annual, so it comes to 2% per 4% per annum, so it comes to 2% per half year. Okay. Now with this data point, we can actually compute the present value. And please note the signs here. Here I have given for 25, I have not given any sign, so basically it is plus. For future values I have given not given any sign, so it is basically plus. We have to now compute present value. So when you compute present value, you get the answer in minus. Why? The calculators, and typically you look at any of these kind of computations, one kind of flows are in one sign, other kind of flows are in other sign. So if you have regular coupon payments of 25 and in future you are going to get 1,000 because you are an investor, you get both 25 is an inflow for you, 1,000 is an inflow for you. What is your initial outflow? Considering today the coupon rate, the market rate is 2%, which is basically yield, and this is semi-annual yield, and there are 10 periods of semi-annual periods for which this particular bond has to pay the coupon. What is the coupon? Coupon is 25. Now let us go ahead and compute. So what do? You first pay second and clear TVM, because this is a very important function. So if you have to clear data in this, you have to press second and clear TVM, or basically the FV button. Right, when you do that, all the data that is stored in this is lost, right, or cleared rather. Now we have periods as 10. So I press 10 and then I press N. So then the number of periods is stored as 10. Now let us say it is not 10. If it is 11, then I press 11 and I press N, the 10 gets replaced with this 11. Okay, so whenever you are trying to do something in this calculator, especially with time value of money, if you have made a mistake, you can immediately correct it. Okay, need not clear TVM, need not clear everything, you need not do all of that. Okay, first we have input the data, so 10 N. So now N is set at 10, it is stored. Then what do we have? Interest per period, it is 2%. So 2, it is already in percentage points. So you press 2 into I by Y. 2 and I by Y, I'm sorry, not into 2 and I by Y. So interest per period or yield per period, whatever is the number of periods, is 2%. That is also stored. Then you have payment, which is periodic coupon payments, are 25. So 25 is PMT, that is also stored. Then you have future value as 1,000. So you press 1,000 and future value. So you get future value as 1,000. Now let us say you suddenly realize that the I by Y is wrong. It is not 2, it is 1.5. You can just say 1.5 and I by Y. That I by Y automatically gets changed even if you are halfway through the computation. So I'll press 2 and I by Y. Now 2 gets stored. Okay, what is the data? 10 periods, 2% per period. Period, what is the coupon payment is 25 and future value is 1,000. Now with this, what is the present value of the bond? Okay, so you press compute and present value. You get minus 1,044. Why are you getting minus 1,044? You are discounting all the future cash flows of 1,000 and 25 every semi-annual period. You are discounting them at 2% per period and arriving at a present value. And present value is what? Present value is minus 1044.91. Okay, if you want to do it on Excel, you can do it on Excel and figure it out. Okay, that is not a big issue, but you get this particular answer. Now, please note, I pressed compute and I pressed present value and I then got the answer. Okay, so we can do it the other way also. What is it? We can do it the other way. So I will do it now annual. There are 6 periods, 5% per period, and now I will basically say I will give the present value and I will find out the future value. Okay, so what is the present value? Present value, let's say I have 1,000 rupees, I am inputting something. Okay, I am putting it in some investment, and there are 6 years. For each year I get 5% as the interest. What is the future value of this investment? Or I am putting it in FD, 1,000 rupees FD. So I'll put this minus 1,000. I am putting it at minus 1,000. I am putting it for 6 years. Each year I am going to get 5%. What is the maturity value of this fixed deposit? How will I do? First, second, and FV basically clears entire memory. Then you input the data. 6 is N, 5%, no need to enter percent again, please note. 5 is I by Y, then 1000, and I have this plus minus button which all of you must already be used. So minus 1000 is present value, then I have to compute the future value. So I press compute FV. So I get 1340, 1340.09, 1340.09. So you see in this we've input 3 and got 4th. Here we input 4, we input 1, 2, 3, 4 and got 5th. Right. So you may have 3 inputs and 1/4 one as the output, or you may have 4 inputs and 5th one as the output. It depends on the kind of question. Okay. So if you have to find out future value, present value, you can use this. If you have periodic payments, or you want to figure out any kind of EMI, you can in fact even figure out EMI. I'll give you an answer for that. Right. Let's say there are annual payments, or let's say there are monthly payments. Monthly payments. You took a 2-year loan. So how many periods are there? 24 periods, because it's you took a loan in which EMI has to be serviced every month. Okay, so 24 is the number of periods for which the loan servicing happens. Now, what is the interest per period? Let us assume the interest per annum is 12%. So per period is 1%. Right. Then how much is the loan that you took? Loan that you took is, let us say, 1 lakh. Then at the end of the period, you don't want to have any loan. Now you have to find out the payment, which is basically the EMI. What is the EMI for a 1 lakh amount over a 2-year period with monthly interest payments and 1% interest per month? What is the EMI value? Let us compute. Second, clear TVM. Then you press 24 as N, 1 as I by Y, 1 lakh, which is 5 zeros, as present value. Then you say compute payment. You get 4,707. So every month you pay 4,707 rupees, then it will accumulate, and you would have also paid interest of 1% on this loan by the time, and after 2 years, that is by 24 months, you will repay the loan along with 1% interest every month. So the EMI will come to 4,707. Okay, so this is the way in which you can use this particular function for multiple scenarios, multiple kind of any kind of working which involves time value of money. Now there are a couple of more concepts in this particular aspect. One is continuous compounding. We have now seen normal compounding, right, which is periodic compounding. We have given the number of periods, it is compounding over that period. So friends, now let us look at this function called BGN. What is this BGN? In the third row, basically in the time value of money row, if you look at press second and PMT, you see something called as end. End is the default value. End is the default value with respect to the EMI or payment computation, where it takes that all the payments are made at the end of a month or an end of a period. It can be month, year, whatever it is, whatever is the period that you have given. Now, if you have to change it second and enter, it changes to beginning. Then enter, then clear, you are back to normal. Now, let us go and solve the previous problem. What was the previous problem? In the previous problem, we computed 4707. How did we compute? We took 24 months of installments, 1% interest, 1 lakh is the loan. What is your monthly EMI? We call it as 4707. Now, same question. Here we assume that it was end, because I had not changed the calculator settings. It was end. Now, if I have changed it to beginning. 24 months, 1%, 1 lakh, what is the EMI? If you are paying EMI at the beginning of the month, will the EMI be more or less compared to this? It will be less. So let us see and compute. So let us compute. What do you do first? Second, clear TVM. Everything is cleared. 24 is N, 1 is I by Y, 1 lakh is PV, and you are supposed to compute the EMI that is paid at the beginning of a month. So compute PMT. You get minus 4660. Minus 4660. What was I telling you? I was telling you that if you are making EMI payment at the beginning of the month, you are paying it in advance. So obviously your EMI will be lesser. So it is minus 4660 versus minus 4707. Okay. So this is one way in which you can change the setting. Beginning of the month annuity, ending of the month annuity, how you compute is given in this. And by the way, please note that when we have said BGN, you will see on the top of the screen, the text BGN is appearing. Okay, if you're not able to change it, if there is any problem anywhere during the use of this calculator, all you have to do is click second and reset. It will reset the calculator. In your normal calculator, you will, when I press when I press second and reset, it asks me a question mark, reset question mark. Then I press enter, then everything is reset. Okay, so for me it reset to 2 decimals. Whereas in this calculator on the app, it reset to 4 decimals. So it doesn't matter, it will come back to your original form. Okay, now what is e power x? It is also again very simple. 2 second e power x, it gives you a value, or 1 second e power x, you get 2.7183. What is e power x? If you guys remember, what is e power x? 2.71. You can actually go and search for it, in mathematical websites or anywhere. E power 1 value, e value is 2.71. So which is exactly what we are getting. So e power x, whenever you do, especially in derivatives where you're supposed to compute the continuous compounding, where you're compounding it continuously, then you use the e power x function. Next, moving on further, we will look at some more important functions and then move forward. So friends, after finishing time value of money related, functions on our calculator, now let us move to the next one, which is random number. Okay, let me show you what is this whole random number thing. So on the calculator, if you generate, okay, just say where is random, RAND, the fourth row in the last column, okay, RAND. Okay, there if you just say second rand, it generates a random number between 0 and 1. If you want a random number of 4 digits or 5 digits, you have to multiply it with the respective number. So into 1, 2, 3, 4, you will get a random number like this. So it generates a random number between 0 and 1. What is the function? Second RAND, right? So it generates a random number. Again, second RAND, you get a random number. It generates between 0 and 1. So this is the next function. After this, there is one more function, which is e power x. What is e power x? E power x is the epsilon. Basically, you find out the value. If you have to do continuous compounding, we multiply it with e power x. If you go to derivatives chapter, where we are trying to find out the value of option using Black-Scholes methodology, or in level 2, or in case of level 1 also, where we find out the future value of a specific contract, forward rate, or things like that, there you use e power x. E power x is basically continuous compounding. You are compounding continuously. If you do compounding once in a year, it is annual compounding. Once in a month, it is monthly compounding. Once in a day, it is daily compounding. If you are doing once every instant, then it is called continuous compounding. We have discussed this in the upcoming classes, so don't worry about it. But the computation of that is given here. Before we go there, I will just show you something. I hope you remember this. Log x to the base e is equal to a. This is natural log, okay, where base e is called natural log. You would have studied it in class 10, 11, wherever. And x is equal to e power a. Okay, x is equal to e power a. Or let me change this slightly and write it differently, which is log a to the base e is equal to x. A is equal to e power x. A is equal to e power x. Now, if we substitute value of x as 1, e power 1, you get 2.718. We can go and see there. You can also alternatively find out what is the value, given that value of x is equal to 1, what is log a to the base e. That also you can find out. We will come to that. Okay. So first let us go and have a look at the first one. Yeah. So 1 second ln. So you get, when you do second ln, you are basically computing e power x, and x we have already denoted it as 1, so 2.7183. So e power 1 is 2.7183. Now let me say 0.12 and I press second ln, I get e power 0.12. Okay. Now if I were to compute the logarithm value of 1.1275, what will I get? I will get exactly ulta. Just see, 0.12. So you understood what I am saying? Let me repeat. 1 second ln, that is, I have computed the e power 1, I got 2.718. Now for this 2.718, if I compute logarithmic value to the base e, what will I get? Just press ln, you will get back 1. So this is what I was trying to explain, right? Log 2.713 to the base e is equal to x, e power x is equal to 2.713. So, e power x is equal to e power 1, x is equal to 1. This is the answer that you got there when you read it the second time. Same logic what happened, we computed with 0.12, same thing we got ulta. Okay. So, don't unnecessarily get confused. When you go there, when you reach for that particular chapter, you can do this. But the idea is you can compute e power something as well as you can compute natural logarithms in this way. Please don't ask why there is no anti-log, it is not there in this. Okay, natural logarithm value can be found out in this. Okay, this is the next one. After e power value, then random and e power things, right? Let me note down random number and e power x and natural log. Right, so we have finished this. Then coming back, what else? So friends, next I want to show you about this function called date. Okay, when you click second in date, it gives you some date functionalities. Okay, now before we do this, first let us go and check what date format are we. If you remember, second and dot takes us to formats. In that, first we have decimals, then we have degrees, I said leave it. Then we have it in euro. So if you remember, we changed it in euro. We changed it to euro from US. Euro is DD, MM, YY. Okay, so it is very important because the way you enter date format is DD, MM, YY. Okay, even though they are showing 4 Ys, it is 2 Ys is what you enter in. Okay, now you come back and click second and 1, which gives you the date, date 1. Let us take 2 dates and let us take some wide dates. Okay, let us take dates for 10 years. Okay, so I will compute date for, and please note the format in which the date has to be given. So let us take 2030 versus 2020. So 31.1230. Please note the format, 31st December 2030. 31.1230. It has to be entered in this format only. And moment you enter it, you press enter. It shows you what is the date. Date is correct, no? 31st December 2030. Then you press the down arrow. Then it asks you what is date 2. Okay, date 2. What are we trying to find out? I said between 30 and 2020. So I will give 01.0120, 1st January 2020. So we have computed D2, then press enter, it will show you as 1st Jan 2020. Then you come down, press down arrow, it says DBD. DBD is days between dates. So we have given 2 dates. What are the days between these 2 dates? And you press compute. Okay, it is showing 4017. Why is it showing 4017? It is 11 years, right? 2020, 21 to 30 is 10 years and 2020 is 1 more year. So you will have 3652 plus 365, which basically takes us to 4017. So 3652 plus 365 is 4017. So 11 years. In that we count only 2 leap years because ideally there are 3 leap years. When 20, 24 and 28, there are 3 leap years. But you don't, even though there are 3 leap years, you are counting the days in between. And when you are computing first day and last day, one of the days gets excluded. So, which is why even though there are 3 leap years, you don't add all 3, only 1 leap year is getting added. Anyway, that's besides how the calculator functions, but I am generally telling you. This is useful when you basically are computing for, let's say, any of these swap payments, or where there is floating to fixed rate swaps, you want to find out the in between dates. And in this, there is one more pointer. I don't think we discussed this properly. Second date, first date I have given this, and second date I have given this, third date I have given this. Now, here, after this, you press one more arrow, you get ACT. What is ACT? ACT is actual. ACT is actual. So it has given us the actual dates. If you recollect, or you'll be still studying, some of you in level 1, some of you are still in level 1 because level 2 students also may be watching this. When you compute the in between dates for swaps and all of that, sometimes you have a date convention of 30 by 360. Okay, so you press second enter, it shows you 360. So 360, if you assume that each year is only 360 days and there are 30 days in each month, then how many days are there in this? Then how many days are there? So you have 11 years, 12 months. So 11 into 12 into 30, you get 3960 minus 1. So you should ideally get 3950. Let us see. 360, enter. Okay. Then DBD compute. 3960 minus 1, which is 3959. Exactly, you've got. That is what I was telling you. 11 years into 12 into 30 and minus 1, because you have to adjust for one day which is in between the starting date and ending date. And here all this leap year, leap year, all that doesn't come into it. Why? Because each year we are automatically assuming, each month we are automatically assuming has 30 days. Okay, so that is another thing where you can use it whether on actual basis or you can use it on 360-day convention where each month has 30 days. Okay, this is one more. Then let us move to the next one. So we have just now learned DBD actually, days between dates, right? Days between dates. Next I want to teach you first more important functions. One is statistical, then even more useful is cash flow. Okay, statistical and cash flow. Once you finish that, then there are some more generic functions that I will come to. We can come to all of them later, but these are primary ones that you should understand and know. Okay, so now let us first go to statistical. Okay, let us go and look at the statistical functions. So what is the statistic stuff that I'm going to explain? So basically, I'm going to give you two data points, two particular variables called x and y. For this, I will, let's say, give 3 or 4 data points. So A, B, C, D, 4 data points, or April, May, June, July. Okay, April, May, June, July. Okay, for 4 months I've given you these data points: 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now, between this x and y, we can now figure out an equation, figure out the the mean, variance, standard deviation, sample variance, a bunch of other, sample standard deviation and a correlation, a bunch of other things. How will we do that? I will show it to you, right? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have purposely taken numbers which are easy for us to understand. So friends, now let us enter the data, right? Whatever we discussed, 10, 11, 12, 13, so on and so forth. Press second and then 7. The data function opens up. In that, it is asking you x01, that is the first value of variable x. We chose it as 10. Enter down arrow. Then y01, 11. Enter down arrow. Okay, then 12. Right, x02 was 12. 12, enter down arrow. 13, enter down arrow. 14, enter down arrow. 15, enter down arrow. 16, enter down arrow. 17, enter. So you can keep moving up and down to check what are the values that we have entered: 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right? We don't have values beyond this, right? Now you come back and press second stat, and here it shows LIN. LIN is basically linear. There are various other computations also. We will check for them. Okay, first let us see LIN. Okay, then LIN is linear, right? As I said, then you press down, n is equal to 4. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We entered 8 values for x variable and y variable. So basically for each variable we entered 4. So it is showing us the count of 4. Then x bar. What is x bar? Mean of x. Mean of 10, 12, 14, 16 is 13. 10, 12, 14, 16 is 30. 10 plus 12 is 22. 14 plus 16 is 30. 30 plus 22 is 52. 52 by 4 is 13. Okay. And y bar and sample sample standard deviation of x is given as 2.5820. So if you remember, this mean is, this is 52. This will be 56. This is 13. This will be 14. Okay. And what is the sample standard deviation is what? Or variance is sigma x minus x bar whole square by n. This is normal standard deviation. Standard deviation of the sample, that is basically sample SD. This one is population SD, right? This sample SD is sigma x minus x bar whole square by n minus 1. Okay, so it is computing this value, this 2.22, whatever you got is that. Sample standard deviation of x is 2.5820. Okay, now press down arrow. Actual standard deviation is 2.2361. Then y mean. Y mean is basically average of y is 14. Then sample standard deviation of y is 2.5820. Standard deviation of y is 2.23. Then what we have is this is what? This is value of a and b. Right. What are these values of a and b? What is this a, what is this b? So a and b is, it is basically creating an equation. It is basically created an equation for which it is giving value y is equal to ax plus b, right? So if you have, or you can call it any other form, but because they have given value of A here, I am just giving you the value of A. So what is the value of A? A they have given it as 1, then B also has come as 1. Why? Because we have taken continuous numbers. Then they have given correlation between those two. Correlation is R, R is 1, right? Then sum of X, they have given us 52. Sum of X square is 696. Sum of Y is 56. Sum of Y square is 804. Then sum of XY is 748. Okay, and linear. So come back to this equation, A value and B value is 1. So if value of Y is equal to A 1 into value of X plus 1, which is correct, no? If you substitute in this, if you know the value of X, 10 into 1 plus 1 is 11, right, which is what is the value of Y. So it has actually created an equation, and correlation is also computed as 1. And wherever you have to compute these correlations, covariances, or any other such computations basically with respect to statistics, it is easily allowed you to compute, okay, using this statistical function. Now, so what is this x dash or x comma? X comma is, if you give a value of X, what will be the value of Y? So let's say I give the value of X as 25, that Ax plus B equation. So how much should value of Y be? 25 plus into 1 plus 1, which is 26. So I enter this as 25, then Y compute, it gives us 26. Correct. So this is what this X comma and Y comma is, right. Now coming back to the other elements, which is what we were discussing about, we got linear equation. Now when you look at logarithm, ln is natural. Instead of looking at it as a linear equation, if it creates a logarithmic equation, natural log equation, what happens? So it is giving you data for that, right. Then same way, if you, instead of natural logarithm, what else is there? You have an exponential equation, then you have power, then you have 1 minus v. So these are varieties of things that are there in this. I don't think you will be using all of them. The statistical function is what you will use most, which is simple linear. Please ensure that you go and check. When you come here, when you enter the statistic function, LIN should appear. That is when you'll all get this data correctly. When you get, that is when you'll get all this data correctly. If you have any of the other things like LN or XP, EXP or power or 1 minus v, it is going to be tough. Okay, so this is about the statistical function, very, very important function that we have concluded now. Next, what are we going to do? After finishing the statistical function, we are now going to the cash flow. This is also very, very important. Let us go to the cash flow function. So friends, now we are going to look at the next one, which is very important, which is the cash flow. So you see here this button in second row, something called cash flow, NPV, IRR, and the funny part is there is no yellow color text or any different text above them. Okay, so the second screen or second function is actually not there for them. Okay, interesting, right. Now let us come back. So if you just press cash flow, right, it shows you CFO is equal to some number. Now if you press 10 here, you've just entered a value of 10. Now has the value 10 been stored in CF0? It is not it. Till you press the enter button and an equal to sign appears on the screen, CF0, that is first year's cash flow of 10, is not yet saved. Okay, let us say you want to change this 10 to 11. Moment you enter 11, again equal to sign is gone. But have you saved it as CF0? You have not saved it. Let us say you you clear work and come back. Right, now what is CF0? Now you press clear work and come back. Then you are at again 0. So you press cash flow again, CF0 is equal to, you get the value of 10. Right, what you entered initially. Now, if you want to change this, you say 25 and you want to change it as minus 25. So minus 25, enter. So moment equal to sign comes in, it says that this particular value has been stored for CF0. Also, one more thing, you need not enter the number directly. That is, if you have a lot of computations in this, let's say 25 into 6 into 8 is equal to plus 25 is equal to, you got some value. That you press enter, it gets saved. So you can do a lot of functions and then, or rather a lot of elements, you can do a lot of functions of multiplication, addition, what all, and get a value. That value you can store it as CF0. Moment you press the enter button, it gets saved. Okay, CF0, that is initial cash outflow, it happens 0th year, okay, day 0. Then you have CF01 or C01. C01 is what? Cash flow 01. in the first year, not 0th year, not beginning of the time, but at first year you have some cash flow. Now here let me say what was my CF0 was 1225. So when I come to C01, let us say I enter 258, I press enter, okay, C01 is 258. Then it asks me F01. What is this F01? F01 is frequency. So this 258 cash flow, how many times are you getting? Are you getting it once? Are you getting it twice? Are you getting it thrice? Right. So let us say I enter the value as 3 and press enter. Okay. So now let me go back and check. CF01 is 1225. Now let me change this to minus 1225. Okay. Minus 1225 and enter. So I just press the plus or minus button, minus number appeared in front of 1225, then pressed enter, then minus 1225 got saved. CF0 is you made an investment of 1225, then you got cash flow of 258 for how many times? For 3 times. The frequency is 3. 258 you got 3 times. Then C02, which is next cash flow. Which is this cash flow? Is this a year 2 cash flow or period 2 cash flow? This is not period 2. You have already entered frequency as 3. So this period is period 4. Period 4 you get a cash flow of 580. Okay. Press enter. And then you press down arrow, the frequency. Is it 1, 2, 3? Let me say I enter frequency as 1. Okay. Then I press enter, then down arrow, C03. Now which cash flow is this? Is it the period 3 cash flow? No, it is period 3 plus first cash flow had 3 frequency. So it is period 3 periods got over there. Second cash flow had 1 frequency. So 4th period got over there. So this is the 5th period cash flow. 5th period, let us say you get a cash flow of 80. Okay. And frequency is, let us say 1, enter. It happens only 1. Okay. Now after based on this, given these given these details or given these cash flow projections that you have, right, let us click the IRR button. IRR compute. IRR is 3.59%. So IRR is 3.59%. Then NPV, for the same set of cash flows, what is the NPV? If you are asking for NPV, it will obviously ask you for the interest rate. If you take an interest rate of 10%, all these values are percentage basis only. NPV, and then you press enter, I is equal to 10, enter, then NPV is equal to compute, you get minus 187. So I am just going back and showing it to you. You press I is equal to 10, instead of 10 let us take 15, I is equal to 15, enter. So I is saved as 15, that is interest rate is saved as 15, then you press down arrow, then you say compute, it computes it as minus 304. Okay, minus 304 is the cash flow that you get as NPV for all the cash flows that you have given at discount rate of 15%. Okay, then moving forward, future value. What is NFV? NFV is the future value. If you were to do the future value of all the flows that you have at the same 15%, what will be the future value? So you say compute, you get minus 612 as the future value. Okay, moving forward, for same I is equal to 15, you got NPV of minus 304, future value of minus 612. Okay, then once you have got this, let me now take you to the other aspect, which is I will do second clear, everything gets cleared. If you want to check, you can go and check. Then second cash flow, all numbers are there. So I go and say second clear, all cash flows are cleared, all cash flows are cleared. So friends, one of the things that you should remember and recollect is when you have multiple cash flows in positives and negatives, your IRR sometimes may come erroneously. Okay, so you should not worry, you should not do it using this calculator. When you have multiple positives and negatives, you may get an incorrect answer or you may get an error response. Okay, so that is one thing that you should keep in mind. So this is the cash flow, NPV, IRR and cash flow frequency and all of that computation basis. Okay, fair enough. So friends, one more small thing. So when you keep doing this down arrow, right, NPV, NFV and all that, you basically get the present value, future value and all. But when you do it on on the simulator what I have on my tab, you don't have some features. Whereas if you take a real calculator what I have and you keep once you compute NPV and you look at after NFV, there's something called as payback. Payback is how many years does it take for you. It is just a simple pressing the down arrow, whatever this down arrow button is there, right? When I'm pressing down arrow, I'm getting NPV, NFV and again I. Whereas in your calculator, when you press the down arrow, after NPV, NFV, you get PB. PB is payback. If you press compute, you'll get a payback period. Then if you look at DPB, DPB, you will get discounted payback. So basically, it will say, it will give you the present value terms, how long does it take to pay back the investment that you have made, right? So discounted payback will be basically the present value of these cash flows from how long will it take for you to recover the investment. But please note, this whole function will work only if your cash flows, initial cash flow is negative and subsequent cash flows are some amount of positive and negative, whichever way the movement is. But typically only when you have positive. If let's say you have a lot of negative, then it may not work out, right? So whatever are the rules of your payback and discounted payback, those can also be computed in this calculator only. Okay. So friends, after cash flow, we are now going to look at storage, memory and recall. Storage, memory and recall. We'll look at all three together, right? So friends, one more point. What did we do? Input a number 50, then we pressed STO1, enter, it got saved. Same way we press 60, STO2, enter, it got saved, right? And how to check all the memories, right? So you press second and memory, you get the values. M0 is equal to how much? Press down arrow, M1 is 50, M2 is 60. Now can I change this M2 from 60 to something else? Yes, you can change here also. 50, enter. So you can directly use the store function or you can use the memory function. Both ways you will get this answer, right? Now what are the things that we have stored? M1 is 50, M0 is 0, M1 is 50, M2 is 50. Now you come back. Now after you come back, let us now multiply M1 into M2. So what is there in M1, you need not again go into memory. So you need not press this second memory and then do down arrow and then do all of that. Okay, all you need to do is recall 1, it gives you the value. Okay, then recall 2, it gives you the value. We had changed that 60 to 50, that is why we are getting 50 for 2 also. You can also do recall 1 into recall 2 is equal to, you get 2500. So let me go again and check what is the value in memory. M0 is 0, this we will change it to, let's say 60, okay, enter, down arrow, then M1 is 50, then down arrow, M2 I will change this to 40, enter, okay. So we have entered 3 values, 0, 1, 2, right, 60, 50, 40. Now you can do M1 into M2 or M0 into M1, I will show you. Recall 0 into recall 1 is equal to 60 into 50. Now recall 2 is 40. So 3000 into 40, 1.2 lakh. So into recall 2, 1,20,000. So you can basically directly do functions of multiplication, addition, division using this memory, recall and storage functions. Okay, so it's a fairly simple one. It is not complex. More and more you use, right, more you'll be comfortable with this. It is not just once watching this video with aram se baith ke in your room and then thinking that you will understand everything or you will remember everything. You have to solve certain problems. You have to use a calculator, you have to punch in, you have to solve more problems, that is when you will remember. Okay, and please don't get into this zone that once I have done I know everything. No, you need to continuously be in touch with it, especially closer to the exam. You need to be more in touch with this, because in exam day you should not be struggling whether it is to second function, whether it is first function, third function, all of that. Okay, so now we have finished one more, which is storage, memory and recall. Now after this, what all functions we have are actually very I would say they're not used much. Now what are the functions that we have? I'll just show you. We have these functions about profit, icon, then percentage, basically margin, then you have a break even, then you have a bond, then you have sin, cos, tan and HYP, then you also have this round. Round is the function, right? Then we also have XPYY, then amortization. So amortization, basically EMI computation and all that, at least we don't have it in our CFA syllabus, so I don't think that is so much required. But the sin, cos, tan, I'll not get into it because I don't think there's any way we do any of that in our CFA or FRM syllabus. This icon, profit, break even, percentage change, depreciation, yeah, that is also something that we can look at. But again, these are all very complicated and confusing, because my belief is you are better off actually doing them on your own with pen and paper, because you'll do it faster, you'll understand what is going on. You'll have to learn the syntax. Syntax means the way this particular calculator functions with respect to depreciation or margin or break even and all of that, and then do it. So I would actually rather not do all of those. Rather, I would finish this session by doing this one thing, which is this round off. Round off is the last one. It's a very simple one. I am ignoring purposely 6 or 7 things which are not required. If you want to learn them, please open the book that I shared with you, right? That TIBA2 Plus or Professional Hand Guide or book, or which is issued by in PDF form, which is issued by the Texas Instruments people. You can go through that. But other than that, I don't want to spend time on all of these other things which are genuinely not important from a CFA exam perspective. So the last one that we are going to look at is round. So round is, let us say right now I have 4 decimals. So I enter 2.222222, I enter 7 2's. Okay, 7. Then I press second and round. It rounds it to the 4th decimal. Now let me say 2.56789. Now plus 1. Okay, 3.5679. Now, what happens in this is, if I am not rounded off, what is the number? Let me again state this. So, in this what happens is, let us take, I take a very simple number, 1.23456. My calculator right now is in 4 digits of decimals, but I have entered 5th decimal. Now, if I don't do round off, this number gets saved as it is. So, even at the back end, it will not, this round off of 1.23456 is still saved as 1.23456 only. But for me, only the 4th decimal is visible. I'll just show you the example. Plus 1, right? 2.2346. Okay, it is rounding off and showing it to me. Correct? It is rounding off and showing it to me. But if I, let's say, multiply it by 1000, okay, multiplied by 10,000. Last number, should that 5, 6 what I had, no, should it appear, not appear? Let us see. It is appearing. 22345.6. Even though it is appearing as round off on the screen, in the back end it is there, and when I multiply with a larger number, it does not go away. So I am repeating this once again, 1.23456. Okay. If I just multiply it with 1, that 456 is getting rounded off to 46. Okay. But in the back end, it is still as 456. How is it 456? You multiply it with 10,000 or 1 lakh or some big number, you see that it is 456. Okay. This is the first part. But let us say I take the same number, 1.23456, and I round it off. Second and round. It rounds off. It genuinely rounds off. It is no longer there at the back end. Why? Because if you multiply it by 1 lakh or 10,000 or something, you will not see the number 5. 5 is gone. So this round off actually rounds off the last decimal. Whereas if you are not rounding off, if you are, let us say, having 1.23456 into 1, this 46 last 2 decimals are actually 456, which are stored in the back end. Okay. So this is the round off function. So friends, we have done storage. After that, we have done round off. And there's one last thing before I forget, it is bonds. Let us do this bonds and then wind up. What is this whole bond story? Nothing complicated, right? So let me show you what we are referring to. So this is bond is what, just above 9. It is second 9. Okay. When you press second 9, it shows you some data. Again, this is in US format. Let me first go and change this. Second format, down arrow, degree, US, second, enter is changes to euro, then enter, then clear, then second bond, SDT. What is settlement date? Settlement date is the date when you actually pay the money and get the bond. So basically you are an investor in a bond, the day the bond transaction is settled initially, okay, when you purchase the bond. So let us say we are making an investment on, again I'll take easy simpler examples, 1st Jan 2020, okay, 01.0120. Please remember the format. Okay, 1st Jan 2020. Dot is immediately after the first DD. Okay, then after settlement date you have coupon. What is the coupon that is there? Let us assume that the coupon is 10. press enter. Is equal to S come, so it is the right one. So coupon is valid. So coupon is 10. Now press down arrow. RDT. What is redemption? RDT is, what is RDT? Redemption date. What is redemption date? We invested on 1st Jan 2020. Let us assume that the redemption is 31st December 2023. Okay. So 31.1223. Okay. So we had 20, 21, 22, 23. We have 4 years. Okay. Enter, down arrow. Then RV. RV is redemption value. So redemption value, is it a, is it a 10-year, is it a face redemption value is 1000 or it is 100, what? So we'll enter redemption value as 100. Okay, enter, down arrow. Then is it based on actual or is it based on 360? Okay, if you have actual or 360, right? So it is actual. Then is it 2 by Y? Is it 2 by Y is how many coupons per year? So if you press second enter, it will change to 1 by Y. So I will keep it as 1 by Y. Enter, down arrow. Yield. What is the current yield? Yield, let us say, is current yield is, let us say, coupon is 10%, right? So and it is annual coupon. It is a 4-year bond. Redemption is 100. So what I will do is I will keep yield as 8 so that the current price of the bond is much higher. So I will keep yield as 8. Enter, then down arrow. Price. Current price, let us say, is current price you have to compute. Current price you have to compute. So compute. So it is giving me a price of 106. Okay. So you can give a price and compute the yield. Okay. So I'll show you. Yield is 0. Enter. I'll say price. I'll say 108. Okay. Enter. Then I go back to yield and say compute. So it works backwards and gives you the yield. It works backwards and give you the yield. After price, what else is there? Accrued interest. What is the accrued interest at that particular point of time? It gives you. Then SDT, these are all what we have already said. Coupon percentage. Coupon, basically how much is the coupon value. So coupon is not percentage. Please note, coupon is value. Because if it is 1,000 rupees, I'll show you. If the coupon, I will change it to 100. Okay. Enter, down arrow. Dates are same. Then redemption value cannot be 100. Redemption value has to be 1,000. Okay, because on a 1,000 rupee bond only you get a 100 rupee coupon, right? Enter, down value, down actual, because we have set this as actual there in our format settings. Then down value 1 by Y, yearly 1 coupon. Then yield. Yield, let me say, is 8%. Enter. Then price, I say compute. So it computes the price as 1066. For a 1,000 rupee bond, it computes the price 1066 when coupon is 100. So coupon is the actual value of the coupon and not the coupon percentage. Please don't make that mistake. Okay, so so you have understood how bonds can be priced using just your calculator, what you have in your hand. Okay, so given that we have covered all of this, and I am purposely by design not covering this points what I told, that amort, sin, cost, tan, then depreciation, margin, break even, icon, profit, and all of that, it is not required. So please don't unnecessarily get into things which are not required. More important are things that we have discussed. And please note one thing, always do second clear. It clears everything. If you go into any function, let's say you go into this NPV function, second clear, everything gets cleared. So all numbers are clear. Same way, if you want to clear the computation with respect to present value, future value, all that, second clear TVM, you get to the entire thing is cleared. And you want to, whenever you are setting something, it is second enter, basically it sets. Okay, or when you want to move something up and down, second enter and then up and down it comes out. Okay, so specifically what I am referring to, I hope you have understood where I am referring to, let's say format. Here decimals 4. Now, if you want to change it to 5, you have to press set and then down arrow, then degree. Okay, random or degree. So when you press set enter, it shows the various options under it. Let's say euro. So second enter, it shows you US, so on and so forth, like that. So second enter is basically for showing you options. Okay, so I hope this has been a fruitful session for all of you. If you need any more stuff, if you have any queries, if you want something, please let me know. More than happy to assist you. And please use this. Please use this calculator video as and when you have any doubts when you are going through our syllabus. Okay, fair enough. All the very best, guys.